Does your leg suddenly give out when walking, as if it won't support your weight or it feels like you may fall? I'm Dr. Dave Candy, and in this video, I'll share 3 simple tips that you can start using right away to keep your leg from giving out when walking. Now, before we go into the tips, it first helps to understand what causes your leg to buckle when walking in the first place. There are 2 causes that have to do with the leg, and one that actually has to do with your lower back. Now, the most common one that I see in my clinic is that when people walk, if they allow their foot to pronate or flatten too much, or if they have some hip weakness that causes their knee to go inwards. That throws your leg out of alignment. And when your leg isn't in a straight line, it causes you to not have great stability in your leg when you're walking. So it may feel like your leg will buckle or give out, or like you have to grab onto a piece of furniture suddenly. The second thing is not getting your knee straight enough and overstriding. When you're walking, the longer of a stride you take, the greater distance between your center of gravity and your base of support down at your foot. So if you transition onto one leg and your center of gravity is really far behind your foot, once you pick this foot up off the ground, it might feel like that front leg is going to give out on you. Now, the third problem actually has to do with your lower back. If you have spinal stenosis or a pinched nerve in your lower back, being too upright in your trunk or too extended in your lower back can actually cause you to pinch some nerves. That's why many older people tend to lean forwards when they walk, because it opens up the spaces in the lower back where the nerves come out. So the first tip is going to be to address that first problem of the knee going inwards too much. If you hit a little bit more on the outside part of your foot, just slightly, not like you're walking all the way on the side of your foot, but if you focus on keeping your foot slightly turned out and your knee and hip slightly turned out, that activates the glute muscles in your buttock. It also helps prevent your foot from overpronating like that. So if you focus on hitting slightly on the outside of the foot and turning the knee out using your glutes, that helps keep everything in alignment so that your leg doesn't buckle when you go to take a step. Now, the second tip has to do with getting the knee all the way straight. Ideally, you do want to be able to get your knee completely locked out so that you're not having to use a lot of muscle force. Walking really doesn't take all that much strength because your knees are usually fairly straight and your center of gravity is fairly over top of your feet. However, if you take a really long stride, if you overstride, and you don't have your knee locked out completely, it can cause you to buckle. So just taking slightly shorter steps where you're landing over top of your foot is another tip that you can use to help prevent your knee from buckling. So instead of reaching really far forwards with this front leg and pulling your body forwards using the front foot, you actually want to think about pushing off from the back foot and landing with your center of gravity pretty much over top of your foot. Then you push off the rear foot again to take your next step and push off the rear foot again to take your next step. Now, you don't need to take incredibly tiny steps. A lot of seniors who have balance confidence problems will take really, really short steps like this, and that's not great for walking either. So you need to find a happy medium, but you want to avoid taking really large steps like that, push off from the toes, and land with your center of gravity fairly over top of your leg. Now, the third tip also helps with that problem as well as the lower back problem. Many people as they age will start to hunch over naturally, and they'll almost try to force themselves to stand up taller and walk. But what that often does is cause the lower back to arch even more. And since the nerves that supply strength to your legs come out of your lower back, forcing excessively upright posture can actually make your legs weaker and more prone to giving out on you. Now, if you follow that last tip that I mentioned about pushing off the back leg and landing with your weight over top of your foot, that will help you to lean your trunk forwards. And so the third tip is actually to lean your trunk slightly forwards when walking. Again, happy medium. You don't need to walk bent over like that, but you don't need to walk excessively upright either. By walking slightly bent forwards and landing with your weight over the front foot, that helps you to keep your center of gravity over your foot while also slightly opening up the spaces where the nerves come out of your lower back. Now, by combining all three of those tips, you'd take a step, land on the outside of your foot with your center of gravity over top of your foot. Your trunk will also be leaned slightly forwards when you land like that. So knee and foot going out, landing with your center of gravity over top of your foot, and leaning your trunk slightly forwards in the direction that you're walking. Now, by doing those three things regularly when you walk, you'll build new walking habits that will help make your leg feel more stable when you're walking. And the good news is that you don't even have to take a lot of additional time out of your day to exercise. But if you're looking for exercises to strengthen your leg, one really good thing that you can do to build the balance and stability in your leg is to step as if you're taking a step and landing over top of the foot, and then just do little mini knee bends. It's kind of like a halfway between a single leg squat and a lunge. So it's just a very tiny knee bend over top of this front stance leg. That'll give you more confidence, balance, and strength in your legs to help prevent your leg from giving out when walking. So I hope you did find this video helpful. If you'd like more tips to improve your balance and mobility, check out this playlist up here. But before you go, if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.